jumping right into it. So let's wait until a few people drop in. Just have to check the key range from time to time. Here we are. So see, like the first people dropping into the channel, to the live stream. Hey everyone, just in case if you can hear me, welcome to this live stream. It almost feels like it has been ages, but it was just like last week. So that's a good sign, actually. Hey David, nice to see you. It's great that you're here. So I was just watching actually the Harry Gregson Willians video about Mulan and Phoenix. So I know that you did the video, right? I think that's correct. I think I've seen that in a post of you on Facebook. I think it was. I just have to make sure that everything has been set up right in my template here, because it has been a while that I wrote this demo for orchestral tools here. And also I just have to probably check real quick if everything works well on Twitch too. Seems like. Title should be there. Hey Nadia. Hi everyone. Hey Nashi. Nice to see you guys. Don't be so shy. Just let me know if you're there. So it's kind of funny. You just go online and it always takes a few minutes, and then suddenly it feels like people rushing in. So it always seems like Stream Elements is a kind of a little bit late with the announcement. But hey Martin, how are you? Hey Udo, how are you? Gero, hey, how are you doing? Still working on the trailer tutorial series. You mean you probably talking about the YouTube videos, right? The YouTube series. So we will definitely have a few more videos going on that topic, but I just mentioned it on Facebook this afternoon that I just was able to finally finish all the projects I have currently worked on. Actually, one has been done a little bit longer ago. The other one is the ominous game trailer I always talk about. So this has been finally went out during the last edits and is now going to be prepared to be recorded with live orchestra, I think next week. And then we will see, then we go from there. But basically my main work is done with that. So I will have a little bit of more time. Finally. I've been saying this for a few weeks now, but it seems like there was this never-ending story, and then there was a lot of going on that trailer actually, that there has to be kind of a little parts longer and being cut out and then rearranged, and then I already rendered the stems, and then we had to break it up again because there have been a few ideas coming on that improved the trailer and so on. But all I can say for now is that it absolutely looks amazing. and hopefully sounds amazing too. Yeah, we'll see how that works. So hey everyone, hey Agent K, hey Dom Pro, Sami, I just missed you all right now here. Seven Tears of Hope. Movie soundtracks, hey, nice to see you. Oh, you're asking, can you take a famous track in the next stream and do it one-on-one? You mean like a review of some famous track and then analyzing it? The thing is, I have to be careful with, kind of popular tracks that have been released because, of course, I think it wouldn't be a problem on YouTube because you can choose to not monetize the track, the video, what I always do anyway. I mean, not monetizing. As soon as I think I accidentally recently monetized like a live stream, but we had a review or a live review of one of my patrons' tracks. And then, but I realized this, and of course, I already got the notification that I can't monetize this track. But I think it's also recently a problem with Twitch. So I've heard that there are quite some DJs running into problems when they just play music. And I think also something I accidentally jumped into the live stream of Daniel James when something like happened with that, with that a specific jingle of us, but it was that Rick roll, I think, Rick Astley thing, and somebody played this, and then they had to wait like for half an hour and restart the stream. So I think it's kind of dangerous, let's say dangerous, to review like a track that has been out there for quite a while, but I'm not really sure. I hope that answers your question. Jero, yes, I wrote for many trailer houses, actually. So I wrote for Epic Score, Two Steps from Hell, Liquid Cinema, Gothic Storm. Did I forget? I wrote for Universal Music, for EMI, which is now, I think, being hosted under BMG. I'm not really sure. There's like constant selling and buying studios and publishers going on, so sometimes you lose a bit of track. Yeah, I think there's always something going on with the dear Urheberrecht, with the I don't know even the English word, with your personal, like with your rights. So let's answer a few questions here. So, Gerald, you said 2Y or 2 probably released stems for a remix competition. So I can use those. I mean, I don't mean in what relationship you're talking about. If they release these stems for a remix and they gave you the rights to do it, then of course you can do it. If you just take these stems because they released it for a trailer house because they sometimes need it for, specific trailers or something, then of course you're not allowed to reuse them or make money of them. And regarding your other question, any tips on reaching out for a first time to a publisher? It's always kind of challenging or tricky. But I would make sure to just have one great sounding album right at hand. So maybe like 10 tracks you can send to that developer and saying, "Look, I got this album finished. I got it done. If you like it, maybe we, get into a talk." And it's I'm just thinking about what would be the best strategy. But I think you have to have some kind of like an online presence. I mean, I just personally, just went this way, so I can't talk about all these strategies. I mean, the best strategy I know it would that you have a complete album done with maybe like 10, 15 tracks and say, hey, listen, this is my music. Do you like the album? Can we get into, an agreement with each other? Maybe you want this music, maybe you're interested in that album. So that saves the time to get to talk about a specific album and get it done, and then having the publisher or the trailer house waiting for it, and then you deliver it. I think it's quite easier when you have the entire album out there. But I think without any reference or something, so you have to have something that you can show to the trailer house. But it's not like that easy to just knock on the door and say, hey, do you want to sell my music? Because this is what many composers do. And I actually don't want to know how many emails or calls or messages trailer houses get every day from composers around the world. Oh, David, which library you recommend working with? You mean like trailer houses? To be honest, I personally think that trailer houses pick the people they want to work with. So I remember back then when I was working with, when I wrote that album for Two Steps from Hell. This is not something that I applied for Two Steps from Hell and said, hey, can I write an album for you? It was Thomas approaching me and asking, hey, would you be interested in writing? And the same happened for Epic Score and also Liquid Cinema. So I think this is just, I think it just helps when you, and I mean, this is what you have to, what you have, David, anyway, like a big online presence, and you have your channel. So I sometimes think that it is more likely that somebody contacts you and this company wants to work with you rather than the other way around. But it has always also been a few years back when I got into trailer and licensed music in general. So, and I think, yeah, definitely times have changed. So this was like all happening in between like 2010, 2015, something. It may sound a little bit mean, but I would say if a company contacts you, hey, would you like to, and the email looks like some copy and paste thing where you can see that just the name has been exchanged to put in your personal name, and they write you, and then you get to their website and they have like 3 credits or something. You should clearly know, unless you really know the person that is the CEO of that company. But most of the time it happens that a company writes you because they need composers in order because they get the share of that license, or the, how do you say, like the sync fee. So I wouldn't recommend working with these companies. Of course, it can be different that some company contacts you and you perfectly know who that person is, and it's like a trustful business person, and so you can always, this would be also always something that is fruitable and working. But yeah, Fabri sounds. This is David. The SF contest, David. Let me just see if I skipped a few questions here. Oh, 7 Tears of Hope. I think I know what you're trying to say. That there was a change that you mean that you can have like I think the last thing I heard is 12 seconds, that you can play any music to up like 10 seconds, 12 seconds, something, until it can be recognized or detected or whatever as the track from that artist. But in general, I would be absolutely careful when it comes to music from other people. I know personally that it happened for a few people, for a few DJs, for example, that they just, remix other people's tracks, that it has become a problem. And if you read the license agreement, the privacy policies and the terms of Twitch and also YouTube, it clearly says that you are responsible for the content. So if you get sued, it's your thing. I think Twitch recently, got a little bit more behind this. They are a little bit more after this. I mean, you only SF David because you used my guitar library. Hey Joey, how are you? No, David is so much more than just the Spitfire David, So really love his work and also the videos you do. Also, I watched your video on your where you talked about what you did, how you approached the Westworld scoring competition back then. There was definitely a video where you can learn quite some things. And yeah, Jared, just read what they wrote. It's better to not assume things, but just read what you have to agree with when you enter this remix competition. So if they write that you can use these stems in combination with a remix, and then you just have to, when you did that final track, you just have to host it on SoundCloud or do a YouTube video and do like a hashtag, just zwei music remix competition or whatever, then I would follow that instruction. So you probably wouldn't be allowed to just take these tracks of Run Baby Run and then, publish it or take money from that. So clearly make sure that you, that you read these license agreements to do this, or what you are able to do with these tracks or with these stems. Thanks, David. Yeah, I think I make it easy to look like easy on YouTube videos because you can still cut, so you can clearly hear that I'm fighting with my my mother language and converting on processing all these things in my brain. It's totally different being live than doing like these YouTube videos. But if you have something in your video and you do like an all the time or something, then you can cut it out or rephrase it and re-record it. It's not possible on a live stream. Hey Brandon. So I think today I wanted to talk about, especially I wanted to do this earlier, but I was just we had so it's kind of crazy because I have so many sample library developers actually approaching me and saying, hey, could you do live stream? It's kind of funny because at some point I love all these videos, but on the other side I want to do music again, and on the other side I have so many projects working on. I mean, not saying that to be like, hey, I'm the shit, I'm the man, but it's kind of like a juggling between all these things. I really want to go on and write write music like we did before, but I definitely need more days to streaming. So today I wanted to, and especially since Mulan was released on the Disney Channel, at least, I'm not really sure. I think it was just released on Disney Channel, so we got this VIP membership and watched it last week. And I also watched the video that actually David recorded. Please correct me if there's anything wrong with it. But as far as I know, you recorded that Harry Gregson Willians video when he talked about orchestral tools using Phoenix, what we want to talk about today, and how he used it in combination with a movie. So there's actually a pretty interesting story. So if you just want to watch the video, this is also on the... Let's switch screens here for a second. You can see that there is a video down here. So you can, check this out. I don't want to play it right now, but it's actually funny that the story actually is that Harry Gregson Williams got in contact with Orchestral Tools, and they decided to have him use Phoenix for the movie first, and then it has been released as a library after Mulan has been released. That's why the library also is called Phoenix, because of the bird in the movie Phoenix. So, and I had the pleasure actually. Hey Lionel, how are you? He's cheating on Spitfire. Abhinav, funny question. Of course you can torrent contact libraries if you don't have money, but if you get sued, don't ask anyone, to get the money. I mean, serious, I'm totally against piracy. Absolutely, I'm totally against. I just have to make this, to make my point. I was just ironic. I think if you asking, you're probably trolling right now, because if you have the balls to get on a live channel with like 52 people already online and asking if you can torrent sample libraries, you're probably a troll, or you are trigger happy. Because I mean, if you get sued about it, if you think it's cool to eventually start making money with something you got for free, where people work their asses off for years, yeah. I could also say like how to destroy your career in 10 seconds, but you're probably a troll. I think I put it like this: you're probably a troll, and you're just making fun. So go ahead. Go ahead and put your head under the guillotine. Okay, so let's just. So I had the pleasure to write an official demo, or a demo for Phoenix. Was pretty happy when Orchestral Tools asked me to write a demo, and I've waited for quite a little bit of time to finally show this track to you. That was also one of the reasons why I sometimes had to be that, a little bit picky when I was opening like the sign player, or and then, accidentally not just scrolling down and saying, oh shit, now you can see Phoenix Orchestra in the live stream. I just broke my NDA. So that was one of the reasons when I open up that I always kind of opened this, the VST, I open it on a different window to not show you guys what's going on, but the funny thing is, I sometimes have to delete libraries because I get on a live stream. This is actually what happened with Phoenix. I had to delete it because when we did like a live stream, I think of the creative bundle back then, yeah, that was kind of tricky, so I had to deinstall the library, reinstall it again. So yeah, Abhinav, I'm sorry to say, but you're pretty stupid if you talk about torrenting libraries and you talk about this on a live stream where 55 people watching. I'm not, I'm not a famous composer. I'm definitely not. I'm just a composer, from Hamburg. I'm fortunate enough to being in a professional business for 15 years now, and I'm sorry I have to say it, but it's pretty stupid to talk about torrenting on a live stream and saying that this is your hobby. I mean, if some law guy or whatever sees this, and I put my videos on, Twitch will keep these videos online. It will be on YouTube forever. If you enjoy stealing from people, then just go ahead, do it. I don't want waste any more time on this. So just whatever you do, whatever you want. Okay, let me just read through the chat here for a second. Yes, Joy, I can't show it right now because it has been released. But the thing is, I was writing the demo for Phoenix before Mulan was released. So, so that's what so that's why I had to delete the library, because I can't show something that hasn't been released, because everybody would just, see kind of like like that little batch here. and say, what is Phoenix Orchestra? And then, okay, so you're basically you're getting fucked if you do that. So let's listen to the track first, and then we just talk a little bit through the instruments and the articulations that I've used. Yeah, that's the track. So I just want to mention this right away. I used, and I think, I'm not really sure, but I think it wasn't written on the page, but Orchestral Tools was okay with it because I additionally used a Junkie XL brass for the end, but I think that should be obvious that the brass section at the end sounded a little bit more different than a Chinese traditional orchestra. And I also used one drum set actually from Arc 1. But we'll go through all of these tracks. So let me just show you the instruments I used and also the purpose. I have these weird icons going on here. So I got my NVIDIA shit going on to record like the last 5 minutes, and somehow Cubase reacts to all the NVIDIA graphics stuff, and it's crazy. Sometimes the icons change, so don't be surprised if you see like little microphones and happy little whatever circles of hell, you know, spreading upon my GUI here on Cubase. Hey Halvala, how are you? Jaden Harper, thanks for being here. This is, well, I mean a custom template. So this is basically all the instruments I've used for the track. So if we start here at the very beginning, I've used the bass, staccato basses from Phoenix. They sound like this, so I can play this right now. And the thing, what I also have to say is that I was asked actually to do like a track that is kind of a homage to Shaolin Soccer. So this is why the title of my demo was Legs of Steel. So there's like the connection. So not much happening for an intro, but I just want to give you a quick dive on all of these instruments that I did here. So let's check out one of these. It's just pretty much staccato company. That's what I can do best, you know, like trailer like staccato stuff. So got a nice rich and kind of a rich bass, so I really love these staccato notes using here. Then we have, this is Sign Player 1. Thank you, Alex, for the great, naming of your tracks. So I had like sustained basses in that middle part. They sound... Could have used more dynamics, but I just wanted to have like a little... I mean, nobody, at this volume, nobody cares about the dynamics, like... So all these kind of things, I just wanted to give it like full blast, at this part. Let's just listen to the sound of these maybe at the end here. So it's also not a legato patch or anything. I don't care when it comes to big sections like it has been going on here at the very end. Nobody hears if it's legato or not. All I care about is how it sounds, how rich and juicy that sounds at this spot. Okay, let's check out here the staccato cello. So what I really like about these, they don't sound traditional, like in the sense, oh, I used that word again. Traditional Western orchestra. It's like a fresh approach, because I sometimes find Western European orchestral players, especially in Germany, it's funny when you record with German orchestra sometimes, like, can you play like a fat staccato note, and they're like, is that good enough? Sorry, I just have to make fun of orchestral musicians in Germany, because I remember a bunch of orchestral musicians making fun during a recording session of a game where they poked with these sticks at each other because they had to play like 8 notes of a track. I wasn't really pissed at this. I was laughing about, but I was thinking like, how arrogant, how can you guys sit there and make fun while you playing music for one of the biggest games? I think it was like a Spellforce session back then. If you Google Spellforce for a game, it's like one of the biggest releases happening in Germany. And these guys were like making fun during the session. I said, you don't have you don't have a fucking idea what recording session. I would feel a little bit honored to be here, but they just care about playing sophisticated, old classical music. So I'm talking too much here again. Let me just play a few. So I layered the cellos in an unusual way, but as I said, sometimes I don't care about any traditional setup. I don't care a Western or Chinese traditional setup. I just wanted to have it like a full, fat, trailer-like, track. So to make it, fit to Shaolin soccer, or that's why I wanted to call it Lexo Steel. So it's pretty. So sometimes I did like the full arrangement here. Sometimes 4 notes on this. So these are all cello. Actually, as I said before, I don't care if it's violas, if it's violins, if it's possible from the range, if it's like 60 people playing at once. I absolutely don't care. The only thing I'm trusting is not music theory or some kind of whatever. I'm trusting my ears, and this is the only this should be the most important thing. Actually, the funny thing is, I was recently watching a video. It's called "Why Music Theory Sucks," and I recommend this to everyone because the guy is a guitar player. Who else? I mean, who else would complain about music theory than a guitar player? I know this best because I'm a guitar player too. But he talked about that so many people just go for the theory if they really jump into the theory, rather than going for the notes, that you have like a bass note and a high note, and then come up with notes and try to fill the gaps in between. So there's also some magic in that chord. So, but you have like a C, a D, and an E playing together with a G, and so you can just whatever, you know. So, but use your ears when it comes to this. And as long, I'm saying this in respect to classical traditional orchestra music. If you want to make it really natural, really classical, puristic, then do everything. Take care about the divises. Take care about all the setting. But when it comes to kind of like action music, for example, right now, action music with traditional orchestra, Chinese instruments, just go with what you like. Go with follow your ears, you know. So that's what I did there. So we got some tremolo cello going on here. This is just like a little rise I did. I also could show used controllers, so I did a little bit of a mod wheel thing here. Now, I really like how close and direct they sound. And I think, to be fair, I also have to mention that I used the spot microphones for this one here. So we should probably... Oops. Because I think, I'm not really, actually, to be honest, I'm not sure if I had just one set of microphones back then when the library was released first. But so these are all the spot microphones right now. I'm seeing that. So I think it would make sense. Maybe we can just activate the tree microphones as we go through these. But I just have to, yeah, so I just had the spot microphones activated. The thing is, I installed every microphone position. So maybe let me just quickly do that while we are here. And let's see, let's, say it was a good way. No, actually, we got tree, surround, and spot. Let me just do it like this. Let me put on the spot microphones and the tree microphones on all these instruments here. So we also have a comparison of how this is funny. So we got tree, surround, and spot. I'm actually a little bit confused because I remember clearly that I had a limited set of microphones. But it just happened on, let me just check a few different instruments here. So it seems like it almost seems like as if I'm telling bullshit and I just deactivated this one here. So, let me just check real quickly here. Yeah, so it seems like the trees, the surround, and the spot microphones were switched on for all of these instruments. No, just had, okay. So let's activate these while we go. Let's keep that in mind and let's do it like this. So let me just... No, it's not a concertino patch. Hassan is your name. So it's not a concertino pitch. We don't have traditional orchestral instruments. So just in case if you chime in right now, we have Chinese traditional orchestra instruments right now. So this has nothing to do with like of course the instruments are kind of like the same, but it's different players, a different a different country, different traditional approaches and everything. So it definitely sounds different. Even though the instruments are, I mean, every instrument is kind of like the same. Every instrument, for example, I'm absolutely no expert, but if you have an Erhu, you have probably something else going on in the when it comes to Africa or another content. So a continent, not content. Let me just go on with the instruments here, and so these are not. Some may sound like concertino patches, but so this is probably another, let me just quickly check this. We got another sustained cello ensemble going on here. So we got all these 3 microphone settings here. Tree, surround, and spot, which we would have the close A, B, but I just leave it for now like this. We can dig a little bit deeper into the library itself. I just wanted to show you all the instruments for now that I have been using on the demo. So let's check over to the song here. Epain, thank you so much for resubscribing for 2 months. I really appreciate. And also Edmond Rio. That's an I, so it's Rioid. Edmond Rioid. Thank you for following. So the song. Yeah, I just like the sound of, let's solo this. Like adding this effect to the rhythm section here. So on. So we got the arhus, the staccatos here. So it's already pretty dense here, so I just had to be sure to, if we just highlight all of these, to not make it too cluttered and something. So there's not really much going on in the beginning, but you can hear that the further we get into the track, the more is going on here. Let me just try to highlight this here, show you the little spaceship. So let's check out the young Queen that I've used here also. So it was just to introduce the melody a little bit. Let's listen to the beginning here. So this is typically when we talk about songwriting or anything, that sometimes people don't know what to put in their songs or where to head, or that they are not able to finish their tracks. And I think it's a good way to just borrow from wherever you can. So if you have that hook line going on here, that main melody. So if you borrow from that hook line and you can use it in parts for the beginning. It's just an easy example right now, but you probably know what I'm talking about. If you are somewhere towards the end, maybe you are at like 2 minutes something at a track and you don't know how to finish that track, you can always borrow something from the information you already created. There is no need to come up with an entirely new part, entirely new instrumentation or whatever. Just look, what have you used in the track before, and just try to change it. Maybe you have an instrument or something, ba, 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 like this main melody, and you can finish your track, bring it to an end with like using the accents from that main melody, ba, da, 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 something like this. You know, I think should be, hopefully make sense what I'm trying to talk about. So we have the song ensembles legato here. Let's listen to this. So I doubled that with the arhu. Okay, so let's play this a little bit. Let me just check the microphones also. So let's turn these on. if you're not capable of playing, traditional Chinese music, I can always recommend to use the black keys only, because this is a B flat minor pentatonic. So if you don't know how to play pentatonics, which is basically like the, let's say like the traditional, the root scale of Chinese music, of course, it's way more complex. But if you listen to all the great, like great movies, movie themes and all these things, it's most of the time always pentatonics. And so on. Just realized I just have to scroll down the text here. The chat, because I got stuck somewhere in the middle. Demon, yeah. I knew this question would come up. How do you compare this library to Jade? Yes, the thing is, when it comes to a library like this, I could come up and bring the library and do like an A-B comparison. This library got all this, is like 30 gigabytes. The other one is like 15 gigabytes. The other one has 3 microphone settings. The other one has 5 microphone settings. But I mean, you probably know already what I'm going to say. But I honestly think if you really want to compare these libraries, you watch different videos of different articulations, watch all the demos or listen to the demos, and then decide if there is like a feeling inside here, what sticks with you. I had this feeling back then when Cinematic Studio Strings was released. I wasn't sitting down and comparing it to VSL or comparing it to Spitfire or Project Sam or whatever. This library spoke to me. I had to buy Cinematic Studio Strings. So I said, I have to get it. So if you are looking for a great sounding a library that has been used in Mulan and gives you that kind of flair and character of the soundtrack, then Phoenix is probably your library of choice. However, if you listen to demos of Jade and say, Stretzoff sampling all the guys, and especially George is a really great guy, a really great developer, and a really great musician, if that library speaks more to you, but I think you can do all the comparisons of a library by just looking on these website things and listen to the internal demos, So I know I'm a little bit different when it comes to comparing libraries. My best reply would be, if you have the budget, get both and just use both and mix them up, because you create a more custom and a more unique sound than someone who just picks one library. So we got these two. We got some Guzengs going on here. I think this is also legal. Let me just quickly check the microphone settings again here. Let me just activate these as we go. I think there was something, I'm not really sure anymore. It has been, quite a while in between. It could also be that some instruments I just had, because I reinstalled the library and there were some edits going on and some, beta testing and some updates, that some things have been, messed up or whatever. This can easily happen, but this all happened way before the library was released. So in case you get an update and the orchestral tools are pretty behind fixing bugs and everything. Seed Audio, thanks for following. Thank you so much. Hey, I know who you are. Thanks for being here. So again, I think all these things should be fixed, and I think it could have been me, but to be honest, it has. I don't really know how long ago I recorded this demo. I wrote this demo, so I had to keep it closed for several weeks, I think, if not even months. So it all happened what happened because of Mulan and Corona, so you can do the math a little bit. Okay, so we got some Guzengs going on. Let me just play these for you quickly. So the range is pretty. So I just used it to, accompany this hook line. So if we just listen to the entire strings here from this part for a second. So actually I used the guzheng as a accompanying and also counter, kind of like a, I was about to say counter strike. No, like a counter melody towards the other instruments I've been using for the main melody. So let's listen to the woodwinds here. So we got the hulusi, and I just used some. There's a cool thing that you got some ornaments going on in that library here. Again, we will cover these later. Let me just check the mixes. So, and I just wanted to, show, also to say sound-wise, all the instruments are pretty much untouched. So there's not really, let me just quickly, without getting too much into the mixing process, but I just used a little bit of, I set up, let me just do it a little bit like this so you can see this. I just have like 4 stems, strings, woods, percussions, and brass. And I just had a little bit of EQ going on where I notched out a few elements that added up a little bit, became a little bit too, let's say, like bulky, somewhere in the 100 hertz area. So there's not a lot going on. We got some little bit compression going on, a little bit of air EQ, and some additional reverb. The Boston Hall of Seventh Heaven reverb. So that's basically all what I did. There is no major tweakings going on for all of these instruments here. I think actually for 2, let me just check these. For the Xinjiang, oh man, my Chinese is not the best. Yeah, I notched out just a little bit. That had to be done because of the track, and also something to get rid of the, this is the Arc 1 Epic ensemble, so I just wanted to get rid of all the bass, the boomy stuff, because I didn't need that. So I wanted to introduce 3 ornament patches of the hulusi, the suwona, and the xiao. So let me just play these all at once here. So after all, it's a library demo, so you're not just showing off what you're doing. What I didn't do here anyway, because it's like more like a traditional action, as I said before, like in remembrance, or how do you say, for Shaolin soccer, like in a homage to that. I was looking for that word, and but it's a library demo, so. Not showing off here or doing anything, but also introducing articulations from that library and how they sound with, for example, different instruments. These things. Yeah, and Lionel, you mentioned a very important point, which is basically what I'm saying too. Always best to make up your mind yourself, always subjective. But a big difference is that Jade has vocals. This is definitely one of the things that's definitely, I agree, that should be mentioned, that there are no vocals going on in Phoenix. We will, as I said before, we'll go through that. So you got plucked, you got bowed strings, you got winds and percussion. That is the setup of Phoenix, and Jade features vocals and I think some sound designish stuff. But as I said before, you will just listen to one library and the other, and then say, this touches me more, and this is your way that you go. As I said before, I experienced a situation that a pro, or that a few pros said, you have to get this library, but I was used to using another orchestra library, and then I got it and I wasn't happy, and but everybody used it, so all the pros use it, so you have to be pro too, so now you have to buy it, and then you use it, but you just write shit. sound, sort of. Or you're used to work with the other library and you get the sound you like, and that's it. So I should have stick with that. I mean, after all, I'm happy that I, but you know what I'm trying to say. If you're not happy with what you have, disregarding what people say, I would always follow my instincts and just go with a library you really like or want, or what your heart is beating for. Okay, did I miss something here? Wait, there was another question up here. Rick Reiser, are you currently composing for an upcoming video game? If I would do, and I would be allowed to mention it, I would do. But actually I do, but I can't, of course, say which one, because everything has been, with in agreement with the company and NDA, so you can't talk about anything. So I will actually, there are four games, 4 projects that will be released soon. Actually 5. It's kind of crazy. I've never had this phase that there are 4 or 5 projects that will be released but haven't. And the first one I started like almost a year ago. So it's like that phase of having 4, 5 projects. You can't announce, you can't say anything about it. You have to be careful like crazy to not say anything. So Blanco, if I if I think that's your name, that's my cousin actually. Is that right? Thanks for being here. So, I'm right. Great to see you here. Thanks for being here. Okay, so let's check. Let's move on with the DZ I was using here. DZ Bangdi. I probably pronounced this all wrong here. Let me just also turn on these microphones here. I had to fool around a little bit with the octaves here. You can see that right now, that there is a little bit of a mix going on. I think this should be down an octave actually, but you can't play that low with a DZ, or with that specific one. So I had to... That sounds pretty great actually when you play it like this. It's also funny that Harry Gregson Willians mentions this. I would have never thought he says that, but when he said he used Phoenix for Mulan, and then when he got back to recording and the entire arrangement or finalizing process, he also got like real musicians replaying the samples. And he says this in his video. You can watch that video. I think it's like 6 or 7 minutes long, or 10, something 12 even. And at some point he mentions that he liked the sound of Phoenix so much that he left it in there and didn't go with the real recordings. Bad for the musician, good for orchestral tools. But I mean, it's funny. Sometimes it happens. It happened to me too, that you were recording something and then you had like a real player, and then you thought, but I like the expression of the sample library, because at some point something weird, for example, may have happened with a legato transition at some point, and you liked it that much, that specific, like maybe it was an overblow effect, and that real player didn't get it. This is not an insult to real players, but it's like, winning the lottery again with whatever number, 6 out of 12, hitting 12 numbers or 6 or whatever. Sometimes it's like a little bit of a lottery playing. Something happened accidentally with that, and sometimes it even happens that you made something available with a library and you can't recreate it over the synth. It happens way more often with a synthesizer, that you're just fooling around. For example, you sit there playing around with your Matrix Brute here, and then you come up with something and suddenly you created a noise and you don't know how it happened at all because you didn't know what you do and you mixed up so much stuff. So yes, exactly, Nashi. That's what I also thought. I could just change it. But then again, you know, it happens like if this would be a track I would have composed for a game or for some client, I would have done this easily. Or I would have said, you know, this can't be played with that instrument, so I'm using another one, or I'm just transposing down the samples. But if I release that and somebody listens to the demo and then buys the library, maybe because of the range of that specific instrument, and then is being pissed off because the range is a different one, you know, originally is a different one. I don't want to be responsible for tweaking too much, especially when it comes to a demo. And there are so many rumors. I mean, the wildest rumor that I heard is that somebody recorded real orchestra below orchestral samples. And it has been like, I don't know, like maybe 20 years ago. I don't know if it's true, but there were some people getting into the process of proving it and all this stuff. So you want to be pretty careful when you do demos, especially for a company like a much respected, well-respected company like Orchestral Tools. You don't want to tweak around too much. And yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deliver like a false impression or a false picture of a library. I think I did the same here. Really like the sound of these DZs here. Okay, let's hop over to the. There's a little bit of stuff going on here towards the end, or let's maybe listen to the woodwinds and the strings in general. Hey, Jess and so, nice to see you here. Just have to make use of this situation when I can talk German. So, hey, Christopher. I think I kind of missed you somewhere. Nice to see you here. Yes, so these are the woods. Actually, I have some instrument here that is not used. I think I wanted to go with another ornament here from, but I think I skipped this one. So, but we will go through the library anyway later on. So there are some percussions going on here. I used the Xinjiang hand drums on this one here. Just accompanying the rhythm of the strings here. Kind of sounds like an organic, how do you say, like an add-on to these strings. It's like sometimes when you do that with Western traditional orchestra, you have low staccato notes on a double bass, for example, and you add a timpani because the range fits and it sounds. You give like a little bit more power to a staccato note of a double bass. So this is what I tried to accomplish here, and then also a little bit of ringing going on. So let me just move with the keys again here. Hey Holly, thanks for following. Spectral Atmosphere, no worries. I think we're here for now. I mean, we're just live for an hour right now, so we'll be here for a little bit. Hey, Morty, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Oh, Dragon's Music, thanks for following. Like the standard phrase. Oh, thanks for following. No, I mean, actually, there have been so much following going on during the last recent weeks, and it was really crazy. So the funny thing is, I was really amazed by seeing that I think like a few weeks ago, I hit like 1,000 followers on Twitch, and now we're almost at like 1,400. So I really appreciate you all. But I simply wanted to say, hey, Dragon's Music, and thanks for being here. So we also have some percussion menu going on. This is quite big. There's a lot of going on here. You also got the hand drums in here, the Xinjiang. So out of all these, I've used, let me just quickly check what I've used in the beginning here. Like my typical 16th note stuff, pulsing, giving the track some velocity or speed. So you can also almost see like some little kind of a synth arpeggio going on in the background. And then I used some. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. So I just wanted to have these typical, especially here at the end, the typical, you know, like these crash cymbal hits and. Okay, so that was basically everything that I've used from Phoenix. So additionally, there are some other instruments we can check them out. I mean, because it's the demo I've been writing, so I just want to you know, talk about all the instruments that I've been using here, and so we can quickly check this Metropolis Arc 1 patch. I was a little bit surprised. Why does it open the contact? But I think back then I didn't have Metropolis Arc 1 on the sign player, so you probably know how long it has been since I wrote that track. So I simply had to use. But we will get to that later, because as I wrote also in the streaming name, it's not just exploring a Phoenix, but also DAGU, which is a Chinese orchestral percussion that has been released. I think, did it happen today or yesterday? I think today. But just to mention this right away, they have nothing to do with each other. So this is DAGU is not like an add-on or like a library that has been recorded at the same space or anything. I think it even has been recorded by different in different places and has nothing to do with Phoenix itself. But at this time, I wanted to have some big percussions, and probably the best choice was Metropolis Arc 1, because they fit, and they are orchestral tools libraries too. So let's listen to these percussions here too. Maybe from the beginning again. Yeah, you say it, Lionel. Surprising how good the mix sounds. Thank you. I take this as a compliment, but also again, yes, it's you know, with all kinds of respects to the library, because it has been so well recorded, and why, you know, change a thing. Probably if I would just go over it, and if I would maybe change it and to make it really like my sound, I would probably tweak a few things here and say and there. But as I said before, it's a sample library demo, so you have to be aware that the featured instruments. I mean, I can just give that away as a tip, or I just mention this as a good tip. But if you are going to write a demo for a specific sample library and you've used others, always put up the featured instrument from that library a little bit more than the other instruments, because you want to make it a little bit stick out. So what I'm trying to say, you compose differently when you compose for a library, and yes, then if you would just you know, work on the track or edit the channels or mixing settings or whatever. So these are the percussions that I've used from Arc 1, and I also used a Junkie XL brass for, you know, the ending brass that is happening here. So as I said many times, billion times before, with my typical setup, that I'm creating these combos out of marcato, staccatissimo, since we are with a Chinese library, so I'm kind of starting to mixing up the names and articulations. Marcatos, staccattissimos, and the sustains. And I'm building these kind of combos, so I'm able to more or less trigger, yes, more or less realistic so I have the sustain, the marcatos, and these staccattissimos together. Do all kinds of things without having too many tracks or working with key switches, which would be hell for me. As I mentioned many times before, I don't like them. I also used a lot of close chords for the trombones, so you can create kind of a big sounding. So just as an accompanying instruments to the end, to get a little bit more into, you know, like from doing like this funny mix of Chinese and traditional instruments, traditional Western orchestral instruments, even though you can't really say, of course you can say, because it's like traditional orchestral instruments, but Junkie XL brass has been recorded with that little bit of an extra epic trailer touch, sound designish, movie-like touch. So, but I just wanted to use that. It was perfect to bringing this track to, let's say, maximum. And last but not least, I had these trumpets going on here, just there to do a little bit of accompanying to these, to the guzheng I was using above here. So if we just solo this, it does this to the track. So it almost sounds like a synth, but I really love that you, when you hear the trumpets down here, these little, and then you just you know, layer them with these Chinese instruments. Yes, so that's basically what I used for my demo, and we can, as I mentioned already, there wasn't a lot going on mixing wise. However, there's a little bit of stuff going on mastering wise, because I just wanted to, this is always a good way, I think, that you can represent a library naturally, that you add, you know, all of these kinds of effects here, so you can make it really mighty and bring it to maximum without tweaking or changing the sound too much. So what I basically did here, if you guys are interested, is just a little bit of a, you know, taking away below 20 hertz to avoid low rumbling. Then the next one is one of my favorites. I was using this dynamic spectrum mapper. I think in between there has been a release of version 3. I still have version 2 because it just works. It's just kind of a multiband compressor that analyzes what is going on, and then kind of like, it's not just like a 6-band or an 8-band, but it just creates this curve which is happening throughout the entire frequency band. Just using this for taming, and also I like to sneak in, and I always think my arrangement crashed when I'm opening the drummer. It happens every time. Just a little bit of compression. Then I have OTT in here to bring a little bit in of that mighty feeling. So I will play that back with all these effects bypassed, but I have to be careful that I'm not bypassing the Restream plugin here, so you guys don't hear anything anymore. I also had some virtual tape machine going on, but there is so much latency going on in that I just had to turn it off. I also used some Neutron to just tweak the sound a little bit more and just, support me a little bit with eventual corrections in the EQ curve. I also have my favorite limiter in here. It seems like you can push stuff to death, but it never dies. So you don't hear some distortion or something going on. And of course, my all-time favorite, the inflator towards the end. So let me just quickly play you the ending or something, and then switching these instruments, these plugins one by one on. So first thing happening. So you can hear already what's going on. I hope that the volume is okay. Maybe a little bit soft right now when I compare this to my microphone. No, it's okay, I think. And you can hear already what's going on. It's just like that little bit of gluing it all together. Next thing is the drummer. So also again, just a little bit of gluing together, but if you just bypass both of these, it gets a little bit more obvious, and then we're just getting OTT into the mix here. Just a little bit to make it bigger. Then, yes, I had these virtual tape machines, but I think I just want to let it bypassed. But I just want to turn on this one, and there may be a little bit of a... Yes, like a little jump happening here. So it's, if you listen to these one by one, there is always just like a little bit of stuff happening. And I love it so much when you have you maybe like 5, 6, 7 plugins happening at the same time. And 3 or 4 of them are basically compressors, but they always do a little bit. And I feel that there's like a special mix in colors happening when you not just use one compressor and move it, let's say, or use it to maybe like 30 or 50%, but you use 5 compressors and just dial them into like 5 or 7, 8%, whatever. So you reach kind of like the same dynamic, let's say, richness, but it sounds completely different when it comes to, the colors, because there is always something magical going on with all kind of these processors, and you just mix it all together. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. You just have to try that. So then we have the invisible visible limiter. So I pushed that quite a lot, maybe a little bit too much. I'm not really sure right now, but It just sometimes clips. I tend to not do it like... This would also work in a sense, but I like it when sometimes on the higher dynamic parts it just clips a little bit. Just ducks it down for a little bit and then coming back, so I don't want to get into that, you know, kind of like producing sausages, you know, like, or square wave files. Okay, and last but not least, we have this inflator. This is pretty cool. If you never heard of the inflator, I recommend getting it because it's an harmonic overtone distortion plugin. It just takes, let's say, puts distortion on all these harmonic overtones that is happening, and it sounded like, and I recommended doing using it behind the limiter. This is where the magic happens. You can listen to this right now. If you think your track sounds pretty okay with the limiting on and you can't make it louder because you can't go past 0 dB, right? And you put the inflator behind the mastering limiter, you get some additional loudness coming on, which is of course just happening because the overtones are being distorted. So you can clearly hear that there is a difference in volume happening. It sounds a little bit louder, but actually there's just this little distortion going on in the overtones as far as I remember. Okay, so this is basically what's happening here. And let me just check again here. Michael Schuller, thanks for following, or Michael Schuller, I'm not really sure, but thanks for following. Let's answer some questions. What settings do you use in OTT? To be honest, almost all plugins I'm using are kind of subtle in here. So I know it starts off with like a depth of 100, but most of the time I never go past 10%. I hardly go past 1 dB of in-gain, and all I'm doing is like adding a little bit of high frequencies, getting rid a little bit of mid frequencies, and adding again a little bit of low frequencies. So basically ducking down the mid a little bit. I have to be fair, I seen that in a video by Alex Mukala, and before that video I actually also didn't know OTT, so this is where it comes from. Gianni Panini, thanks for following. Joy, why the inflator distortion doesn't mud the mix? That's the magic of what's happening with the inflator. No, to be, I mean there is, yes, because it's magic, but the explanation is that it doesn't distort the entire signal. I don't actually know how it works. I've seen a lot of discussions about people trying to explain how it could work, and then somebody giving like a scientific approach, but it was for my stupid head. It was too complicated to understand. But what I take from this is that it actually just takes care of distorting softly the harmonics or the overtones that happening. If you for example, layer. You can read about harmonic overtones when it comes to orchestra or string sections. When you layer, I can't explain on a scientific level. When you layer the root with a fifth, there is something happening, and then the root again on, for example, the third. So you have like a major chord. There is something in the happening in the overtone area, and this is the area where inflator drops in or chimes in and distorts these. So when it just distorts the overtones, everything sounds a little bit louder and more dense. This is what the inflator is doing. So if there's some, professors out there right now watching this stream, maybe you could dive in and explain what is going on. Actually, Gianni Panini, no, I don't have a breath controller at all. So the only thing I'm doing is when I'm recording brass is that I'm breathing a little bit with when I'm playing. So that it helps a little bit that you like, exhaling while recording. So in a sense, it gives you like a feeling, okay, stop the note there, because if you are not able to breathe, then eventually a player isn't too. And if I'm not doing this, I always make sure to give it a little bit of a natural gap. So if you just listen to that horn right now, here's the gap. And gap again. So this makes it at least a little bit more natural, and you can do some pretty decent effects, even if you just take like a general MIDI orchestral sounds and you create something with it, and you take care of these gaps. What is possible with breathing, or you're just taking, just being aware of the breathing of players. Then it sounds way more realistic, as if you just... This is also what's happening when you actually... I had this moment when I was going to was it like a chiropractician or a physiotherapist back then? And I had a session, and she said she was convinced that if I do acupuncture, like the little needles thing. So I was lying on that how do you say, like on this massage board, and had all these needles, and she just put like the cover, like a blanket, over my body and all these needles, and I just felt like all these needles are going to bend. But I mean, it doesn't do anything. These things are flexible, but she put like that blanket over my body. And before you think I'm going crazy, what I'm going to tell you, it has to do with the music playing in the background. It was just kind of like the traditional yoga, kind of like what you hear when you go to institutions like a yoga, or like a chiropractic, all this music which is going on there in the background. And when you have like German people composing ethnic music or meditation music, it's horrible, because they never take care of the breathing of wood instruments. If you can do this, you can test this by yourself. Listen to some meditation music and listen to the woodwinds like flutes, and they play all the fucking 3 minutes of that song. And you just imagine that situation. You are on that on that massage board or whatever, with your head in that like that gap, and then you have these needles in there, you have the blanket over there, and then you hear an oboe playing for 3 minutes straight without breathing. You just go crazy. It may probably be just funny for me, because I have this picture in my mind how I was, lying there like through that hole, and then the blanket and all these needles, and then you had these wood instruments. And since this moment, I swore to myself that I will always take care of, not getting into Fahrstuhl music, which is basically like the translation would be elevator music, that you sound like generic, Okay, so I would say let's open an additional instance here. And let's check a few instruments here of Phoenix. We can just browse around a little bit in the library and play some notes or some patches that I didn't have the chance to introduce. So let's play, or let's load. So let me just save this for a second. Okay, let me just load the young Quinn. And let's load all these articulations. Let's quickly play through all of these instruments here. I know it's always a little bit, there's some... I like this, that you can resize the sign player. It's always like thinking, man, native instruments, why don't you make this finally happen with... I think actually it is... I think it's possible with Contact. But anyway, the font is smaller in Contact, so... Let me just make sure of the microphones. So I just have the spot microphones on. Let's load also the tree and the surround. And I think that's... Oh, why the heck? Let's load all of them. Let's check how this sounds. So we get sustain reversed hammer. So reversed hammer is basically, as far as I know, using the opposite side of the hammer, not hitting the strings from the other side. Because the young Quinn, I actually have to Google for all these instruments, because you always hear the names and you hear so many different instruments throughout the years. But you have to, even Harry Gregson Williams admitted in that video about Mulan that he knew, of course, these instruments, but wasn't really aware about the ranges of the instrument or how they really functioned. And I was kind of relieved that a famous composer like this doesn't say, yes, of course, I know all of these instruments, and bring it along, whatever, so that he has to do research too. And I found that very, how do you say, sympathetic, very charismatic, that he admitted this and not sitting there like, of course, I know them all, it's like natural. I was born with it, So, doubles. Sorry. And triples. Okay, let me just answer a question. Subwitz, hey, welcome. Is it possible to change time signature, keeping the same pulse in Studio One? For example, 4/4 to 7/4 and back. Yes, of course, you can do time changes. I mean, we are in Cubase right now. You probably didn't notice that I'm in Cubase. And you get that signature track going up here, and you can do whatever you want. I think you just have to put Alt and then paint it in here. Yes. But if you're in Studio One, you just simply hit right click on that tempo line, and then you can simply say like 7/4, 7/8, or whatever. Lionel, which sustain hits you're talking about? Oh, you mean like, sorry if I didn't get that right, but the pulse changes. Do you mean the click, that the click changes or whatever, to change the amount of beats in between the pulse? Oh, I think, yeah, that you get like an appropriate click going for that new, for that new time signature, hopefully. Yeah, 7 Tears of Hope. I actually have to finish that story real quick, but the thing is, if you have a very bad headache and you hurt your toe for a second, the headache is gone. Yes. To be honest, I think that acupressure, which is like pressuring the trigger points, is way, way more effective than acupuncture with the needles, because I think these needles do nothing. I mean, I could be totally wrong about this, but when my girlfriend, who is a physiotherapist, presses these buttons, so to say, like these points, and she releases like tense muscles, then it does something. Needles never did something. And what was really funny back then, this how do you say, like this healing practitioner. It wasn't like some kind of a tree hugger, or it was like a real with science and everything. But she did a mistake in saying, and if acupuncture doesn't help, we still have a bromelain, which is like the what is happening in the pineapple, and it soothes, how do you say, like can soothe pain too. So she did that mistake of saying, and I was like, why the fuck do you let me do like 5 sessions paying 50 euros of acupuncture if I can buy this bottle of bromelain extract, this pineapple extract, for 16 bucks? I think I never went there, but this is what I think of. This is what I think of needles and acupuncture. Okay, so we got some tremolos going on here with a young queen. Let me check the sustains again here. It sounds like as if there's at least 3. No, 4. Cubic, that's great that you are happy with your Jade library. I'm drinking water right now. Let's check what's going on here. So yeah, I think sometimes I think it's the same happens on Los Angeles Modern Percussion. I remember that there are actually no round robins, or on some patches there is no round robin, but they recorded so much how do you say, like velocity layers, that you can easily come up with realistic stuff, because you wouldn't play something like, so you would do it like, so you would add a little bit of life to it. So this is why I actually don't care that much if there would be just 2 or 3 layers of round robins going on. So we got swells tremolo long. Oh, it's crazy. It's really 100 gigs. Okay, so, and we got short tremolos here. And probably, to be fair, I should at least turn off the reverb that is going on that I've used. Oh, just have to check something. Oh, we have this additional instrument going on, so there's no reverb happening, right? So everything you hear right now is, I created an additional stereo instrument right now, so this is not related to any of the other tracks of the demo right now. Okay, let's check some more here. So we just, so basically this was the young Quinn. Let's just delete. And I know that sometimes when I clear the list, things get a little bit tricky. So we give the young Quinn ensemble. Sorry. So let's quickly go through these 2. So this sounds really interesting because you can clearly hear the ensemble, and I like that they let each player kind of hit like these notes, not to make it like ultimately you know, straight to the downbeat and just cut it or edited it, but that there is a little bit of all this hammering going on. So sustain reversed hammer. Tremolo. Moving the mod wheel right now. Tremolo octave. Swells tremolo long. Hey, trumpet of death. And swells tremolo short. She Mama, thanks for following. Okay, let's check the articulation list again. Let's hit the guzheng. Let me just, I mean, what do you guys, we could go to all these solo instruments also, but I think we could, let's just go with you. You decide. If we just want to listen to the solo instruments, I would just head on and go with the ensembles right now. So we got bends whole tone. And we got bends minor third, I think. That's not 3 minutes. 3-minute bends. Get tremolo. And we got tremolo. I'm still thinking, I totally don't know what loon means. It probably doesn't mean lunatic, but it may be a Chinese expression for I actually don't know what it is right. I can hear what it is, of course, because the tremolo seems to be a little bit more loose and slower, but. And we get glissando. Oh. Is it like the last key here? Oh, thank you. Yes. That makes sense. I like these a lot. Tremolo with different fingers. Okay, so I get this. This basically like Billy Sheehan plays bass. He also does Lun. So we get Luan Yin. I think you hear that very often when you watch old, like kung fu movies, and they're sitting like. I think I mentioned this on a stream before, but there was this. I even forgot the title of that movie. It was pretty cool, of an emperor and planning like a. There was like an assassin, but the assassin was hiding in between the castle, preparing to kill the emperor, but and there was like a duel. They're sitting like a couple, like the emperor and I think his wife, and they were dueling each other with. I'm not really sure what it was. It was like the Yangqin or another instrument, but they were sitting there and battling each other, and then they went into these articulations. Okay, so that was the Guzheng. Let me just load the Liu Qin. So I think, yeah, we don't have an ensemble right here. So I think I have some, yes. No, I don't want to be too fast by clicking these microphone positions because don't want to break anything. Hey, Matthew. So with tremolos. We got harmonics. Yeah, I was about to say that's a nice aftertouch that the release samples. Harmonics. They're always hard to play on all instruments, no matter if it's guitar, strings, because you always split the string into half, and then you trigger the string again to, actually get like the note appearing to be like I think 1 or 2 octaves higher. Chords strummed low. Okay, so when I just realized when I press twice, I have like ups and downs. I just tried how to probably you can use I don't have a sustain pedal. That's the... I mean, I have one, but it's down there somewhere and I don't have it attached because I never use it. Guitarist, you know. So chords strummed fast. So it's minor, major, and we got some kind of an inversion of a minor chord. Of the major chord, or like an octave higher, or like an inversion, yes. And the minor chord strummed short. Palm mutes. Okay. So, next instrument here. Lee Quinn. So we got so many instruments here. We got the winds, we got so many. Let's just quickly check these. We have the pipa. Oh, we got lots of articulations here for that. Sustain. Let's check the microphones. Let's turn these on here. We got sustains ornaments. Ornaments 2. And we got bends. Yeah, wah-wah instead. That's probably a good solution in combination with R-type nollie. So then we got doubles again. Triples. Quadruplets, quadruplets, quintuplets, tremolo, harmonics, chords strummed fast, and chords strummed short. So there are a lot of cool articulations going on. I don't think we should, you know, go like for the next 2 hours, go through all of these instruments here. So I would probably check out some instruments here and go through the articulations quicker, or maybe just pay attention to these. I don't want to feel any, you know, I don't want to leave out any of these instruments because they all sound so beautiful. but it's just too much to just go through. I mean, if you just open the bowed strings, maybe let's just hop through maybe the legato settings here of the DAGU. Check out some of these. So I like all these different legato behaviors in between all these instruments. There's kind of a little bit more variety going on than in Western, let's say in Western orchestra setups. Because if you hear portamento between a viola and a cello, of course, some are a little bit slower, some are a little bit faster, but it's like all the time the same. So you got like lots of colors in here. And that's always the beauty of let's say like ethnic instruments or world instruments compared to our sometimes stiff, traditional orchestras. What else can we already went through the cellos, the ensemble. So you got like these sustains, you got ornaments. Let's check out maybe these ornaments here. I really like the direct sound of these. I get so many instruments. I could swear that a lot of instruments have been added since I was writing the demo, but it could also be me just getting old and not remembering it. I don't actually know, but it feels like there is a lot more. I actually know that there has been just the Suona because I was fixing that. I know that for sure that when I got the library, there was just one Suona happening, and now we got like the Gaoyin and the Songwin Suona, which are two different Suonas, obviously. And so this what happens. I just tried to look where it was. So I had to kind of like I think this one here, I used this little ornament note and I just called it Suona. So if there would have been two Suonas back then, I would have, maybe it wasn't finished. I'm not really sure, but you have to remember that I got this library way back in the beta phase when also writing this demo. Actually, I think I got this, it was like the first prototype when writing this demo. So there's always a little bit of a danger when you have a product which is not really finished, but you just have to write a demo that again presents the library. So it's always, a lot of pressure. Yeah, Nashi, no worries. If people disappear, they're probably not interested in seeing these articulations, so no worries. But what do you mean something is about to start very soon? Nothing related to how your stream is going. So I'm not being aware of some. Is there some kind of a... If we would be all German, I could ask if there's some kind of a football game happening within like the next minutes or something. So maybe something is happening within like the next some kind of presentation. Okay, so let's hop over and take care of let's listen to some winds here, because I've used not that many in my demo. I used the Dizzy, 2 Dizzies. So let's check the Xiao here. Let's load this for a second. No, this is somewhere wrong on the wrong. Dodge Jam Records, thanks for following. Actually, Nashi, the numbers you see on the channel or somewhere of that are in the stream or leaving, it's constantly changing. So when I get the stats afterwards, it's an average number of what's in the channel. So it happens always that there's like a gap happening, that like 20 people leave, but suddenly 20 people are in the chat. So all in all, if you see like an average number of 50 people, it's probably 150 to 200 people watching the stream, but maybe diving in for just like 5 minutes or 10 minutes and then leaving again. So, but let me know if there is something going on, some announcement or something, some PS5 announcement, or I don't know what you're talking about when you say that people leave because something is going on. So let me just check this again for just check these different things here. So this seems like it has been recorded without vibrato. No, we got sustains accented. There we got the vibrato going on. Now we got the sustain ornaments. So these ornaments are always essential when you want to have, when you're working with world instruments. This is always where the magic happens. Flutter tongue. Also can change that with the mod wheel. And trills. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that library is definitely too big. We could sit here for 2 hours. Okay, maybe. All that riddle talk. To be honest, I don't like riddle talk. Just say what it is or just don't. But this is like, I have to tell you something. Can we talk tomorrow? Yes, nice. Just tell me what you want. I remember this from girls doing this back then, you know. We have to talk about something. Let's talk next week. Okay, so we also went to, let's check out some percussions here, because I clearly remember right now that there is so much more percussion has been added. This is cool. So let's check out some percussion here. So this is like the percussion menu we already heard. So just quickly went through all of these. It could also be that the following patches here are just no, we got this shogu. Let me just turn on move down the keyboard a little bit because I'm hitting that USB stick here. USB port. The Paigu. Yeah, I should probably check the winds. There's probably some going on here in the winds section. Oh, so you're asking? Sorry. As far as I know, no, there is no. I was thinking that you said, Matthew, that you said if there is some brass going on, but as far as I know, if you check traditional Chinese orchestras, let me just quickly. Let me just quickly check out a picture or something of traditional Chinese orchestras. And as far as I know, there is not really, I mean, there's just a picture here, and I don't want to, you know, get into whatever. But it seems that there is just strings and wood instruments. I think if you go with brass instruments, you would have to go over. I could be totally wrong, but I think like you hear more brass when you go into the area of India. But as far as I know, there are not really brass instruments happening in Chinese orchestra. At least I also don't remember. Right. At least I also don't remember that there has been any brass in jade. So it's just not really part of the traditional orchestra setup over there. So let's check out some more percussions here. So these are all probably like smaller instruments. We have, yeah. Why they don't write trailer music, yeah. Yeah, ask traditional Western high elitary orchestra musicians what they think of trailer music. I'm pretty sure they are not writing trailer music either. So, I would say these are probably all smaller instruments here. We already had some winds. I mean, we could go on for like 2 or 3 hours here, but what I would really love to do is introduce you actually to that library that has been released today, DAGU. These are Chinese theater drums, and they sound absolutely amazing. So I would do like a cut here and introduce these. And I mean, I could just, if somebody got into the channel without, playing, maybe I can play you the full track again, and then we hop over to the percussion library. Let me just play this track once, just in case somebody jumped in later into the stream. Let me just play that for you again. Okay, so that was the track once more. So I was reading the chat right now. So definitely like a PS5 showcase happened. That's really funny. That was just my assumption, but that could be the only reason. I mean, of course, not the only reason, but the most sense-making reason that people, switch. You have a little bit of a Mech Warrior Vengeance vibe. Yeah, just go for it, of course. I played Mech Warrior in the past. I don't know. Comet, thanks for following. I don't know how many years, but I think I remember like MechWarrior 1. Was it MechWarrior 1 or 2? I don't know. Jan, that is as close to an Asian trailer as you will get. Great job. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, just in case somebody dropped in, I just had this, and also it was little request, what we decided to come up with, like this little homage to Shaolin Soccer. It was a movie back then. You can check it, and they wanted a little bit of a homage to that music of that movie. So this is why I came up with this track, and also that's why the title is Legs of Steel. It doesn't have anything to do with prosthetics or something. It was meant to be in the sense of Shaolin Soccer. And actually, I had no clue. This was the cool or the funny, the fascinating thing, however you want to put it, that I didn't have a clue that it was connected to Mulan. It didn't make sense to me why the library was called Phoenix back then. So it all makes sense when I was watching the Harry Gregson Willians video where he's talking about all these things. Oh, Martin, that's great that you mentioned this, especially since I'm a great fan of Studio 1.5. But there's like a professional cross-grade from Cubase to other DAWs available for $199. Isn't there actually generally a cross-grade happening on the Studio One on the Presonus website? Matthew, Orchestral Tools also added a cello. I think there is a traditional cello happening. Yes, because it's part of the traditional Chinese orchestra setup, and also I think the double bass is too. But they sound totally different than, of course, I mean, like the same. But I think there is something magical going on for each culture, like playing the instruments in their style. And you can clearly hear that here. So there was another thing I missed probably somewhere, but let's just... Oh, yes, right. So somebody mentioned like the suona is kind of like a trumpet or anything. Oh, Sayao. Okay, so I have to check that. But I think it wasn't recorded. Or maybe it's not part of the traditional orchestra setup, Chinese orchestra setup, but there is no instrument here that is named like this. So I would say let's jump over to DAGU. Let's talk about this here for a second. So these are Chinese theater drums. Just to mention this once more, they have nothing to do with Phoenix. This is a completely different library, and as far as I know, it also has been recorded at a completely different place. If I would have had the time, I could have probably used these drums instead of the Arc 1, the Metropolis, because they sound really amazing here. Also, you got like these hits on C and D, and then you got... Oops. Fucking Cubase. Sorry. So we got these, we got the rolls here. It's just... Okay, yeah, I just was like, Matthew, yeah, you'd said that. I just remember this is what I missed. Would you mind saying something about Jade versus Phoenix? They are both Chinese traditional orchestra libraries, and I would decide what you like most. I'm sorry to say it like this, but again, I'm not a fan of doing comparisons like this library is 100 gigabytes, this is 69 or 96.7. I would really just literally open both websites and compare what is going on and listen to these to the articulations, and then don't care what anyone tells you about these libraries or whatever library in general, and just pick the one you really love. You know, if there would be like a special library, hey, this is an awesome plugin or a library that is like $29 for the next 7 days, $29. Go for it, you know, or like as we mentioned right now, a Studio One Pro upgrade for just $199. This is something I would just throw in. But when it is a budget question, I would just sit down and think for yourself, decide for yourself what library speaks more to you. What do you feel? You know, what do you think sounds better to your ears? Because this will be the one that you will use most, and that you would like using, or would prefer using. And it doesn't matter when you buy something, because everyone tells you this is better, because it doesn't mean that it is actually better. So I leave that always. I leave that to everyone. Okay, let's check out the deep ensemble here. So it's also in the same setup. That's pretty cool. So you can copy around parts if you just want to check out sounds. Nashi, nobody needs food. No one. Everyone, you always need taikos. You can't have enough taikos. Nobody needs food. And the rolls here. I'm just going through these. The library is not as big, but as far as I know, let's just quickly check out the Orchestral Tools website, because I know there is a really great intro offer going on, and the library is just $59. So it's basically like a no-brainer if you really need, as they write here, like colossal Chinese drums. And I think I get like this instant vibe of, let me just load the full ensemble again. When you listen to the Matrix Tea House tracks or anything. That was a brilliant reply. Try torrenting your food instead. Seriously, that cracked me up. Somebody jumping on the live stream and talking about torrenting, you know, libraries. That was really like, what the fuck is going on? So we got the punch ensemble also. I mean, also the question would come up, what do you think about comparing DAGU to Damage 2? This would be the same. It's not sounding the same. So in the sense, we made it's kind of tricky, because in the last stream, this question was coming up also with two libraries between Damage 2 and what did we stream last week? Damn, I'm really getting old. What was the library we streamed about last week? I just have to check my channel real quick. Just find it right now. And it's like something is kind of weird in the new... Oh, I have to hit the logo. Okay, so we have like the videos. Oh, the orchestra, right. So we yes, right, Action Strikes. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's what we reviewed. And we were talking about Action Strikes in comparison to Storm Drum 2. And we found out that during the stream, you can rewatch it if you want. I think it happened somewhere towards the end, that both of these libraries sound different, but when you use them both, they complement each other. And this is why I don't like comparing libraries, because always every library sounds different. There are no libraries out there that sound exactly the same, and one library has less articulations and ends up with being 30 gigabytes, and the other one is 40 gigabytes. And the one for 30 gigabytes costs 29 euros, and the 40 gigabytes library costs 299. So this would be something where I would say, yes, you can compare these because they sound exactly the same. And this one is a little bit smaller, and there is not much more going on here. Maybe because maybe just a little bit of more articulations, or not articulations like velocities or round robins, but in the end, they sound exactly the same. This would be a point where I would say get the cheaper one because they sound exactly the same. Yeah, Chris Barrow, hey, welcome to the stream. We just had this. I don't want to tell you my preferences because you have to work with a library. So if you feel that the Orchestra 2 sounds absolutely amazing and you got so many opportunities and features you can use and you absolutely feel driven towards this library, then get it. If you listen to Nucleus and you feel blown away by the let's say the trailer or the modern mix and everything and the legato articulations and everything, then you clearly know that you're going with this library. I mean, seriously, don't pay attention to what people say about libraries in general. Just listen to these demos or listen to videos where people, go through these libraries and then decide, yes, this is the sound that I want for my productions, because you will feel more inspired when you open up your template. This is the same reason when I look at Cubase. I used Cubase here. I think somebody mentioned this in the stream before, in the chat a few minutes ago. If I'm back on Cubase, no, I was on Cubase at this time when I was writing this track, and in the meantime, Studio One Presonus fixed all the negative delay stuff, and so I'm basically mainly working in Studio One, but used Cubase for this track. And okay, so this is like a more particular question. So that the Orchestra 2 does not have solo strings and Nucleus does, but as far as I know, Nucleus also only does have. Let me just quickly check this for you, because this is like a more serious question, which is like a concern that you have the decision. So let me quickly do that for you. If we go to the soloist section, you got a solo violin, you got a solo cello. So if you're looking for solo strings, or if you want to buy, let's put it like this. If you feel driven towards the Orchestra 2, but you would have to have solo strings, I would rather spend maybe, rather invest it into, since we are at it, rather invest it into Tableau solo strings by Orchestral Tools and get the orchestra, and then you got more solo strings. However, I have to say, the solo strings, the solo violin, and the solo cello in Nucleus sounds absolutely amazing. So you have to decide, is it worth for you to jump for Nucleus, which is absolutely sounding great, one of my favorite libraries. But if this argument is because it has solo strings, just be aware that there is just a solo violin legato patch and a sustained patch. And here you also got sustained and legato. So there are not really solo strings happening. And also for the, don't get me wrong, the Nucleus solo instruments sound absolutely amazing, especially the legato instruments. But this is basically what is in here. You got legato instruments, and strings is just violin and cello. So hope that answers your questions. Also, yes, we reviewed recently. It's a little bit more steep if you get them all, the emotional cello, emotional viola, and the emotional violins. This is probably about the most realistic and most versatile solo strings library you can get currently. There is so much so much stuff going on between, because you can melt different articulations, and this I never heard with any other library, that you can melt from one from one articulation to another one. Okay, let's check out last but not least, we got some single instruments going on here. So let's load these from DAGU. Let's load this. No, I can't load this entire folder here. So we have concert drums. Oh, it goes. They sound completely different. So you can get. So I'm just playing all 4 C's right now. Little Smart Bro, thanks for following, and also Comet 1569. I was about to ask if this is your birth, you know, like the year you have been born, because. But it wouldn't make sense. You would be pretty old. Okay, concert drums. We have. It's probably not called gun. What we have here. So let's just load this. I think this is probably just parts of the ensembles. So they recorded the single instruments. But it could have been that it's completely different single instruments here. Yeah, I guess so. I'm just saying this because my gamer tag is Avalon 7275, and this is actually my birth date. So this is when I see a number at the end, I instantly think like birth date, but it could also be like. If it would be just the year 1569, I would be worried that you're still alive, or fascinated, depending. So we got the Gun 2. It's probably sounding maybe, yeah, bigger. Yeah, that would be really cool. But they are pretty massive. This is what is also what I say, especially when it comes to, for example, the question, what is more mighty, what is bigger, Damage 2 or a library like this? I mean, they both obviously recorded taikos or these drums, but it's also, if you think one library is louder, then just raise the volume of the other one and then compare these libraries. This is also what happened. What happened, to be fair, with Albion 1. Of course, there is not that much, you know, triple F articulation happening. But if you want to make it mighty and big, huge, you also have to turn up the library, the volume a little bit, because it has been recorded a little bit more, let's say, softer. And when you compare it, for example, with Junkie XL brass or something. You just have to adapt the volume, so you can get it. You just have to make sure to set the volume, the gain staging or whatever right. The balance, the relation of the volume. I was about to say so. Dragon drum. Pretty big, actually. Oh, there's also Dragon Drum XL. So let's check out these. Let's load the single hits. So the real magic happens probably if you want to have, you know, big sounding ensembles. You obviously load the ensemble sounds over here. And then we also have a giant bass drum. Let's load this one here. I think, to be honest, I thought it would be a little bit more giant. But if you really want the full blast, it's probably, I mean, these are single instruments. We have to be fair here. You probably want to load the full ensemble if you really want to go for something, let's say, trailer-like. And also, we got some process stuff going on here. Hyper punch ensemble. Oh, this is definitely some hyper punch. These are really big, actually. So if you really do, you know, put some effort to it and combine all these sounds, the process sounds or loose big ensemble, take care of the quantization, the humanization, you can create some pretty huge ensembles here. Loose big. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Soft and full ensemble. Yeah, these are perfect when you have like these movie scenes where you have some, you know, typically like sustain, low sustain strings going on, maybe some viola staccatos, and then you have these subtle kind of there's some latency going on here right now a little bit because of all the plugins I'm having on my mastering chain. Hey Storm Physics, I've seen you before, I think. No, was somebody else. They actually like the second one that is excusing himself for being late. This is not a school class, but so, oh yeah, you can clearly see that a lot of people left for the PlayStation 5. Is there really like a PlayStation 5 announcement or something going on? Or like a live thing or whatever, like an event. 1 p.m. Pacific. No, that was 4 days ago. I'm not sure what's going on. So let's check out. We have also some drones, and okay, so it's No Mercy Ensemble. So we are. Oh yes, this is definitely No Mercy. And to be fair, I didn't even check. No, okay, there's just one core microphone instance. That's some really big stuff. I'm actually really, really surprised how big they are. Definitely like it. And we have some booms in here too. You can never have enough booms. Yep, some fresh booms are definitely nice. To be honest, I think so far I'm still using the subhits from Gravity, from Heaviosity back then. So I'm not saying that they are kind of like worn out, because they probably will always stay in my template. But if you were, they are more or less they're a little bit more processed as these, actually, as far as I recall. They will be actually used a lot. Then we have some drones going on here. I really like the name Wüstenstaub. So I'm currently pretty proud right now that I can pronounce these names right. So it's basically like desert dust. Yeah, try that on big speakers. That is some nasty stuff, actually. So I'm just using the pitch wheel here right now. So if you put distortion on that, you can get some pretty decent... I think I heard this kind of like the last time recently in the Tenet soundtrack. There's some stuff going on like this. But it's actually guitar as far as I heard. It's really... I thank Ludwig Göransson for bringing back guitar. So much guitar in the Tenet soundtrack. It's really wonderful. So we have Wunderbaum. That's a nasty Wunderbaum. I'm also using the motor wheel right now. That sounds like serious trailer shit, actually. I'm surprised. I didn't expect this. That name is so cool. Erdkernschatten. I don't even know how to... How do you translate this? Like Earth Core Shadow? Earth Core Shadow. Yes, we will all have nightmares from the Wunderbaum. That's actually a great song title. I don't even dare to go lower than, let's just... I'm not really sure what's happening right now, if it's my membranes like totally freaking out or sounding distorted or having this... Because there's a lot of high frequency like glitching sounds going on too, so I think that's probably part of the sound design. Yes, it's probably my brain vibrating right now. It's actually binaural Erdkernschattens. Yes, so that's pretty. I'm pretty amazed by this library. I didn't expect this when I heard that it's Chinese theater drums. So the sound design is definitely worth the money, actually. So yeah, so that's it for these libraries here. Let me just quickly go over to the chat mode. And the funny thing is, I also wanted to ask that because I don't see any dropped frames and I also don't see anyone having problems, but I secretly went back to 60 frames. I know I shouldn't do this. I went back to 60 frames because the last time we checked out, Modern Warfare, actually Fall Guys, it looked a little bit, kind of like, I don't know. It looks kind of weird, messed up on 30 frames. So yes, so if you are interested in these libraries, I sadly don't have any giveaway options or anything happening today for these libraries. But I mean, this is really a steal, $59 or 59 euros, which is roughly like probably $65 something, maybe 63 something. You get some pretty amazing sounds, definitely. And Phoenix, I mean, check out these libraries on the... Oh, actually, what is going on right now? There is still like the collection will available in... What? Oh, Phoenix Orchestra isn't even released yet? Am I right? I'm just kind of a little bit... So is it still in... Okay, so is this still like also... there's an introduction price. Let me just quickly jump back. An introductory offer going on for $299. So if you are really into, you need Chinese instruments, if this library speaks to you, of course, get it. But I think it was released already. Hey, Mr. Toby Bass. I'm just trying to realize if you say that it is coming because of the sounds you heard right now coming out of DAGU, or if there is like a... I'm just thinking if you talk about a sequel of the movie, actually. But okay, so I wasn't aware of this, that it's just available in 5 days. I thought it has been already released. So we're still in pre-order phase, but you now had this, demonstration of the library. And yes, so as I said before, there is also DAGU, and this library also, as I said, has nothing to do with Phoenix. So it's a completely different thing. It has been recorded at a different place. I'm not really sure where, but you can probably read this somewhere here on the page. But of course, it perfectly complements, let's say, the percussive section of that's inside Phoenix. So they perfectly complement each other. DAGU is actually the library we reviewed right now in the last 30 minutes of this stream. So you probably missed this too. Recorded in a 2,000-seat theater. Thanks, David. Yeah, that explains everything. That explains why it sounds that big. So if we just check this, what was it, like the No Mercy ensemble? If I just play that again. Yeah, that's definitely, that's definitely a good thing to have. Mr. Toby Bass, do you know a good library for transitions? Are you talking about probably trailer transitions, right? So just like the 4-bar or 2-bar gap and then getting back to it. I can always recommend Devastator. I think there is a good amount of transitions happening. Symbol transitions. Well, I mean, just take any symbol library and take the hit and just render it and then duplicate it and turn the other one around and put them together again. So you get like a fade out and a fade in again that is reversed. You can do this in like 1 minute with every drum cymbals or orchestral cymbals library you have at home. If this is what you're asking, this is what you're talking about. So yes, DAGU is from Orchestral Tools. You can also check it on the website. And it's, as I said before, it's like 60, what was it, like 59 euros as an intro offer. And then it will be like 79 later on. And it sounds pretty big. I'm actually pretty surprised by this. Okay, you were late. Hi, Hakan. Oh, that's actually not. I'm just confused. Sablo asked the question. Sorry, I'm mixing up names. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we're basically done with a demo and with Phoenix and also DAGU. There was no giveaway happening today, but this brings me to another point because I still, on my own, have two giveaways happening. It doesn't have anything to do with the Orchestral Tools libraries, but there is still, I can just post these if the site loads finally. I can just throw in two giveaways that are currently running, and one, let me just check this. One is not related to music, but I'm actually giving away 3 copies of Fall Guys, of the game Fall Guys. I'm a video game composer. I mean, this has to be, so I thought it would be great to having, no, but actually, thanks for reminding me because there are 2 giveaways happening still. And the other one is another giveaway happening for Horns of Hell or the Orchestra 2. You can win that too. Just in case if you didn't or if you missed that giveaway, you can sign up right now. Yes, so I'm kind of happy that I have these projects done so far. Hopefully that there are not any additional edits coming on because this is like the last few weeks have been like going back and forth in between all these things. Jan, yeah, but I want to give anyone the chance. You know, this is my stream, so I'm sharing this. And the other thing is, yeah, but I know what you mean. It makes it harder. It makes it harder for you to win, actually. Mr. Blanco 82, you're still here. It's glad to see you on my stream, actually. So whenever you get to Hamburg, you know, just definitely let me know. Yeah, I didn't, you know, the thing is, yes, I mean, even if it's regularly Wednesday 8 p.m., I didn't really announce it as much. I think I wrote like a story on Facebook and I just quickly mentioned it on the stream, on my Discord channel. But I didn't really announce the stream with like big tara or put it into like a email newsletter or something. But there will be definitely, I will see next week how next week will go. I'm still working on one video game right now. This is a little bit more easygoing because there are phases of writing music and then they test it in the game and then they get back to me like a few days or weeks later. And then I'm working again on 1 or 2 pieces. So this is really chilling. And the company is really great to work with. So there is a lot of time to finally get into YouTube blog, you know, creation. And also I'm recording a new course. So this is all happening during the next weeks. Subwits, are you are serious when you ask what the sign player is? So it's basically, I mean, just in case if you were perfectly trolling, that was a good one. But just in case if you are serious, yes, Joy answered it for you kindly. It's the new free player by Orchestral Tools, and just quickly want to mention this since we are at it. The sign player is absolutely great because you can, if you, how can I say this best? If you have different articulations in contact, you can just have different programs, but you cannot switch. I mean, probably there are scripts for doing this, but it's very difficult. Let's put it like this. It's very difficult to load in different patches and then switch articulations. You always have to go with what the library developer offers you when it comes to contact, right? So, but when you have a sign, you can arrange or you can put together whatever you want. You can even layer, as we did in the Tableau solo strings stream, we layered a Metropolis Arc 1 legato string patch with the solo violin. So you can easily do this and put it in there and control it right off one sign player instance. And I would actually love to see way more orchestral developers coming on with their players. I mean, Spitfire did it. I think this is the only player where I would say there could be more happening going on the GUI. But then again, why? Because the stuff sounds good, and you just need the mod wheel for this. But if you compare it, if you would directly compare it with a sign player, I think the sign player is outstanding because you could even morph, just get into the manual and just try to find it out. But you could even morph in between articulations. You could go from sustain to tremolo by just loading two articulations and morph in between them. So this is actually a great sounding tool and welcome addition to Contact, because I'm not really sure. Today I was cursing a lot because I had to load a lot of older sessions where I had to deliver stems that will be mixed into the orchestral recordings of one project I have worked on. And it's such a pain in the butt when you load your session and you moved like 2 or 3 libraries, or actually in my case, in January, I got my new machine and my new DAW, or however you want to call it. And it was a pain in the butt when you just opened all the stuff you worked on, and Contact on every session all the time asks where your stuff is located. Seriously, this is terrible. It takes so much time. It's not something you want to spend your day with. Jan, actually, Fall Guys is for PC, for Steam. So it's not related to PlayStation or whatever. It's for the Steam release. If you talking about the games I'm giving away, there will be also one giveaway happening soon. I say that already, where I'm giving away a copy of Modern Warfare. I just have to do it because I'm a fan of the game. Yeah, so just in case if there's no more questions, I think I would call it a day for this stream, or maybe you guys have some questions going on. There will be definitely a new stream happening next week, and as I said before, it depends on how everything works well with the stuff I have delivered for these projects. If there's some edits or stuff I have to work on, but I hope not, because everything looks good now, and then there will be definitely more streams happening. Also, I want to experiment a little bit with different times, so I would probably try to go online on my time in the afternoon, somewhere like 3 or 4 o'clock, somewhere on another day. Not exchanging for the Wednesday, but maybe do it on Monday or Tuesday or whatever. Yes, I'm crossbowing the contact location question. Definitely, I should do that. Man, it's like every day I'm in between that. I'm torn, to just write like an open letter to Native Instruments on, Facebook and tag them, or in a tweet, until they finally do something about this locating issue. Okay, Jan, just let me answer your question. What would you add to a track that is lacking top end if you cannot have any percussion? So you're talking not frequency-wise, but instrument-wise. Ideally something which is not orchestral. Well, you could also work with a synth. You could even use some kind of white noise or pink noise or whatever, and just EQ out the lower frequencies and just use this. So it's kind of hard without an example, but if you cannot have any percussion, I would always go for kind of like synth patches that don't sound percussive, but in a sense they have some sort of a little punch. I would definitely go with something that is synth-like, synth-focused. Just trying to think of some other things here. Yeah, but I would probably go with synth-like stuff. Yeah, I mean, it also depends what the track is but I would probably use synth pulse stuff that is high. You could also try to what could you say? Just try to experiment with pink or white noise and just gate it in some way, or just put some filters on top that you can chop and that you create like specific pulses or rhythmic variations, and just use synth or synth noises. Subwits for Celtic sounds. Is it Celtic era? You're talking about the Eduardo Tarilonte libraries, right? To be honest, I have one thing to say about Eduardo. Just get all his libraries, because this is just a no-brainer. Definitely. I mean, I can totally recommend his stuff. Not often enough. I love all his stuff. Dark Era. Like all the Desert Winds. The I forget these names all the time. Let me just check my folder here. Yeah, like the Epic World library, that was the name. Epic World, Desert Winds, also Era 2, Dark Era. I love all his stuff. I totally support whatever Eduardo releases. Sounds great. There is no discussion about this. He never disappoints. Definitely. This is and also the meditation focused library he released, that I unfortunately forgot his name. Forgot the name right now. That was Be Curious Dead. Thanks for following. Man, this is always embarrassing when you forget names of libraries. But this is definitely embarrassing. Let me check through my folder right now. So I hope I can find them. Oh, Nada, exactly. Nada is the library. This one is absolutely amazing too. So whatever Eduardo Tarilonte releases, it's just an absolute no-brainer. It always sounds great. You can always use that stuff. especially when it comes to, you know, fantasy style music for video games, whatever. It's all at least 1 or 2 patches, even if it's not really related to the style that was intended to be the library for. I use some of this library, some of his sounds always. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, so I think I would call it a day for tonight. And thanks everyone for being here. Damn, we already made like 3 hours. And it seems like so a lot of people dropped off probably because of the event. So then to answer like one last question, Brandon Hills, any good hybrid sound effects library? I would always recommend Devastator when it comes to this. Elevator music, yeah. No, Nada is really cool. I mean, you get like lots of, you know, all these clang bowls. I was about to say all these, how do you say, like these meditation bowls. You get so much variation in these different types of glass. So this is absolutely great. Okay, so I'm really curious about what is coming there. So, singing bowl, thank you. Yes, I have a problem with words today. It's just me. Just nothing to see here. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, everyone. If you have any questions for you know, the orchestral tools libraries we talked about today, if you drop them an email, I'm pretty sure they get back to you answering them. You get all the information from the website. And I would say thanks, everyone. Jono, now you're getting in. I think you did that on purpose, right? Thanks for following. You just dropped right into the stream when I was about to say goodbye to everyone. I'm pretty sure you did that on purpose. Okay. Oh, next week already. Just let me know. Just let me know when. But we will probably chat about that, definitely. Okay, so yeah, but thanks for following, Jono, and see you on the next one. And I will definitely follow you. I followed you on Twitch too, so we will definitely catch up sooner or later. So thanks everyone for being here. It was definitely a great night, and take care wherever you are, and see you next week. Bye. Thanks.